Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Selvakumar, Assistant Professor in the Department of Epigraphy and Archaeology, Tamil University, Thanjavur. Under the subject of Indian culture, we have the paper Prehistoric and Protohistoric Cultures of India. Under this paper, we have the module Antiquity of Iron in India. So, we will be looking into the antiquity of iron in India. This particular module was written by Dr. Smita S. Kumar. I will be making this presentation. Let's look into the antiquity of iron in India. Archaeologists generally are concerned about the antiquity of particular technology or any particular component related to human culture. Archaeologists often ask, when was iron introduced? When did human beings originate? When was gold introduced? These kinds of questions are raised by archaeologists. Each and every material cultural components that archaeologists find, they are very eager to locate and identify the source and also antiquity. That is why we have the question of antiquity of iron in India. The Iron Age bridges the gap between Bronze Age and the early historic period. As we see, after the fall of Indus civilization, we have this Iron Age spreading across all over India. And before the introduction of the script, that is the beginning of early historic period, iron had dominated. That is, from the Bronze Age down to the beginning of early historic period, iron has dominated in the cultural and historical scenario. So naturally, archaeologists are interested in knowing when was iron introduced. The date and origin of the iron has been a highly debated problem in India. Archaeological research mainly focuses on finding the earliest occurrence of iron in different parts of India. The archaeological sites are excavated, the objects are documented, and they are looking for the date of these findings and also the evidence for smelting to understand at which site iron was first introduced. However, it is very difficult to pinpoint the beginning of any particular technology to any particular site that easily, because these sites covered large number of area and large number of sites existed in ancient period. So it is impossible to understand at which site iron was introduced. We may excavate a couple of sites or a few sites of the ancient period, but we may not be able to easily answer this question. However, let's try to look at the evidence from available data. The transition from copper to iron is always considered as an important point in the development of iron technology. Was iron smelting accidental byproduct of copper smelting? Some scholars considered iron smelting began as an accidental byproduct. By chance or by mistake, some of the iron pieces along with the copper ore entered into the early copper smelting kilns and accidentally they got smelted. People who were working on copper later found that the iron had certain peculiar and important characteristics. Then they started developing this particular technology. This is how scholars argue that iron smelting may have evolved from the copper smelting. So therefore, we cannot distinguish between copper technology and iron technology in the earlier level. So iron technology may have evolved out of copper technology. Another important question is where the smelting and the working of iron fit within the scope of the technological skill of the coppersmiths, or did they involve a huge technological leap? How these coppersmiths began to develop iron technology? This is also an important question. And Why did some communities start making and using iron tools after exploiting metals such as copper and bronze for so many centuries? We can answer this question probably because as we see, copper and bronze sources, mainly the ores, are not as abundant as the iron materials. Especially if you look in Indian context, you find hematite or magnetite pieces coming from all across India. Probably because of this particular abundance of these material, people developed iron technology. So iron in copper bronze setting. So we need to look into the iron in the context of copper bronze age situation. We have initial experimental activities for iron smelting in the Chalcolithic cultures. Probably these early communities were also experimenting it, and perhaps because they were not used to it and they could not work further. Remember, any particular technology to be accepted, people has to have a demand for it. Unless people have a demand, any kind of technology cannot become popular. This is the basic of economy of technology production. The sites such as Lothal, Mohenjo-daro, Perak, Aladino, Ahar and Gufral have evidence of iron lumps and pieces or artifacts. They indirectly point to the knowledge of or limited knowledge or trickle of knowledge of iron technology in the early period. Evidence for the presence of iron is also found in the Chalcolithic deposits at Ahar. Chalcolithic sites in Madhya Pradesh also have evidence. So at Nagda and Aran, we have cultural continuity from the Chalcolithic to the Iron Age levels. Therefore, very clearly we see that iron emerging in the late phases of Copper Age or Bronze Age. The Iron Age cultural zones of India are divided into 5 sub-zones. Actually, we have evidence for iron in Zone A in northwestern part of India, which includes present-day Pakistan. Zone B includes painted grey ware culture of North India. Zone C include black and red ware culture of Eastern India. Zone D include megalithic culture of Central India. Zone E includes megalithic culture of Peninsular and Southern India. We have different archaeological cultural regions that we discussed earlier. Like we have northwestern India where we find evidence for beginning of iron, then the Indo-Gangetic Valley, mainly the Upper Ganga Valley and the painted grey ware culture. Then we have Rajasthan region, then we have Middle and Lower Ganga Valley, and then we have Deccan and South India where we find the evidence for various cultural regions concerning the iron technology. The northwestern India has several important sites. Mainly at these sites cane burials are found, and they are confined to mainly the Baluchistan region. The important sites of these regions are Damko, Jivandri, Gatti, Nazirabad, Zangian, Mughal Gundai and Bishe Zad. These sites are dated between 1100 BC to 500 BCE. And in the Kutchi plains are also several sites. The important sites are at Perak, and there are several sites of Gandhara grave culture, and also in the Sarai Kola we find evidence of iron. And these sites generally fall in the beginning of the first millennium BC. In the Indo-Gangetic Divide and the Upper Ganga Valley, we find lot of evidence for early iron. Mainly these cultures are called painted grey ware cultures, and we find lot of evidence at these sites. These cultures generally are named after the pottery, painted grey ware, which is very commonly found. They have several other pottery. This painted grey ware pottery is very distinct. That is why this culture has been named as painted grey ware culture. This particular pottery was first found at Ahichatra in Bareilly district of Uttar Pradesh, and the importance of this pottery was realized only after the excavation at Hastinapura by B.B. Lal in 1950 and 51. From then on, this pottery has been found at several sites in the northern India, and that has helped us to understand the Iron Age and its cultural implications in a full sense. This map actually shows the distribution of painted graveware culture, and you can see these sites are confining mainly to the Ganga Delta. And this is the core region of this particular culture, and you find a lot of evidence at these sites. Actually, this culture is preceded by the late Harappan level with an intervening break in occupation at the site of Rupar, Shangol in Punjab, Daulatpur in Haryana, Alamgirpur and Hulas in western EP. There is an overlap between painted graveware and late Harappan phase at Daderi, Katpolan, Nahar in Punjab and Bhawanpura in Haryana. This culture is preceded by OCP or ochre colored pottery culture at Hastinapura and Ahichatra in Uttar Pradesh. Again, at several sites, it is preceded by black and red ware culture with a break in between. Athranjikera in Uttar Pradesh and No and Jodhpura in Rajasthan are in Rajasthan. So these are the important sites where we find painted graveware culture evidence in different contexts. The date of the painted graveware culture range from 1100 to 500 or 400 BCE. We do find a lot of variation in these dates. Painted graveware sites have revealed evidence for very evolved and proto-urban or semi-urban way of life. So clearly we see an evolution in the development of culture and the way of lives of the people, which can be termed as semi-urban or proto-urban, which is a prelude to the later urban development in India in 600 BCE. So therefore, this particular cultural period is very important. And in addition to agricultural implements, we also find artifacts related with hunting and carpentry at these sites, which are very important, and they suggest the development of various crafts, especially carpentry as a craft developed in this particular cultural period. Probably people built a lot of houses with wood, and a lot of other implements are also manufactured using wood with the help of iron technology. Rajasthan also has important evidence for this iron. We have the site of Bharatpur, where the period 2 was marked by black and red ware, and here some shapeless iron fragments were found, indicating the beginning of the use of iron. The period 3 was marked by painted graveware, which yielded complete iron objects. So clearly here we see the beginning of iron happening in the black and red ware phase before the painted graveware culture. Similarly, at Jodhpura also we have evidence for iron working. Coming to the middle and lower Ganga valley, we have lot of evidence for iron smelting and iron working. Recent evidence indicates that early and mid 2nd millennium BC was crucial in the development of iron technology. We have important sites in Uttar Pradesh like Raja Nalkatila, Malghar, Dadupur and Lahuradeva and Narhan, yielding very important evidence for iron technology. In addition, the Bihar and Bengal regions are also very important in the development of iron technology. We find evidence for iron technology at Chirand, Sonpur, Tharadi, Bahiri, Mahishdal and Bharatpur and several other sites in this region. In the Deccan region, we have a lot of megalithic burials which produce abundant iron implements, and the habitation sites produce evidence for iron smelting. At these sites, black and red ware is often associated with the megaliths. Unlike northern India, where we find painted graveware more dominantly associating with iron, in southern India, black and red ware is often associated with iron. The iron objects are found at several sites. The important sites are Prakash and Bahal. Megalithic burials and associated habitation sites in Maharashtra have also produced evidence for iron smelting and iron objects. Tagalkat Khaba, Naikund, Maharjuri, Bahi Muhari, Ranjana, Pimpal Suti and Junapani and a few other sites have yielded evidence for iron. Interestingly, some of these sites also produce evidence for iron furnace. They are very important in understanding the iron technology of this particular region. Coming to the further south, that is in the southern part of India, we also have lot of sites with evidence for iron. The earliest iron objects appear in the overlap period between the Neolithic and Megalithic phases. Like we saw in northern India, iron appearing in the terminal phase of Chalcolithic or Chalcolithic phase. In southern India, a few iron objects occur in the end of the Neolithic phase. In southern India, we don't have a pure Chalcolithic or Chalcolithic phase. We have mainly a overlap phase between the Neolithic and Chalcolithic where we find iron objects. They provide important clues to the beginning of Iron Age. Here, people lived using agriculture and hunting, fishing and animal husbandry in the Neolithic times. We do have iron objects mainly in the form of utensils, weapons and carpentry tools and agricultural implements at these sites, which indicate that the metal was used very extensively by the people during the Iron Age. Iron artifacts from Padayanur and Machad in Kerala indicates that the metal was very pure, had lot of iron content, more than 99%, which indicates the quality of the iron technology. Local smelting for iron is also found at several sites. Payambali in Tamil Nadu is one of the important sites for iron smelting. We also have evidence at several sites like Banahalli in Karnataka. These sites offer a good understanding of the development of iron technology in southern India. The Middle Iron Age is actually represented by northern black polished ware. This particular phase is also very important where we see evidence of urbanization in northern India, probably ushered by iron implements and other complex social organization. This began around 6th century BC in the lower Ganga Doab region. This particular pottery is very widespread in northern part of India, and also a few shards are found in southern part of India and beyond, which suggests the long distance contacts that developed during the NBP period. So NBP period saw the emergence of cities and first political entities known as Mahajanapadas in the Ganga plains. We can clearly understand the political organization had improved during the Middle Iron Age, perhaps because of the intensive use of iron and other complex social organization. In the early Iron Age, people achieved a food surplus. This led to a series of developments in craft specialization and material cultural production. Therefore, large number of people could assemble in the cities for whom agricultural production could be easily made by involving limited number of people. Therefore, intelligent use of different varieties of crops, iron technology and irrigation technology must have been used by the people in the early Iron Age to achieve these complex developments. These complex developments led to the development of cities. Therefore, we need to understand the development of urbanization is not just because of iron technology alone. It involved several complex factors, and iron was one of the important component in the developments. The term NBP ware was coined in 1946 at Ahichitra by Wheeler and Krishnadeva, though Marshall had already identified this ware at Sarnath and Beta. Later on, people founded useful, so that they called all the sites that produced this particular pottery and the related assemblage as belonging to NBP ware culture. That is why we have NBP ware culture in many parts of northern India, but in South India, in other places, we find few NBP ware pottery. We cannot term them as belonging to NBP ware culture. Probably these pottery came to this region as part of trade activities. As I mentioned earlier, the evidence for NBP ware culture is also found in southern India, probably indicating some kind of movement of people. We also have evidence occurring in Gujarat and also in northwestern India. So clearly this pottery was traveling in all these regions, suggesting the connectivity of the people of different regions. That's very important. Therefore, in addition to the use of iron, people were also moving to far off regions and they were taking these pottery. So clearly we get evidence for the intra-regional exchange in the form of NBP ware pottery. What are the important features of this pottery? Why should we name a culture after this pottery? Because this pottery is made of very well levigated clay and it is considered as a deluxe ware. It is very attractive to look at and it has many good features. It was fired at a very high temperature. It occurs in several colors. It has monochrome as well as bichrome, single color as well as double colors. This pottery has a thin fabric with glossy surface and has metallic sound. Sometimes it is also decorated with designs. That is why it is called as a deluxe ware. Probably it was produced for a special section of the society. It was meant for probably the elite section. We cannot be sure, but why people have to invest so much of energy in producing this kind of fine pottery? This indirectly points to the development in social stratification. Probably a section of the society required such fine products and that is why they were producing, and they could also represent as a symbol of the certain section of the society. So finally, to conclude, the Iron Age in India actually dates back to 1500 BC approximately. Now scholars have been researching on the beginning of Iron Age in various parts of India. We can't just say that iron was first introduced in this particular region or that particular region, because the research is progressing and we cannot easily pinpoint, as I mentioned earlier, that iron was first smelted at this particular site. To answer such questions, we need to undertake more detailed research. But from the overall understanding, we can see iron was probably introduced in the middle of 2nd millennium BC in northwestern India, northern part of India and eastern part of India, and also in southern part of India. We can't pinpoint any specific sites because we need to get more C14 or radiocarbon dating to ascertain our finding. However, our goal in understanding iron is not to just to find where exactly iron was first introduced. Our aim is to understand how iron was used by the society for the development, how iron impacted the social development. We can clearly understand that the introduction of the iron and several other factors such as social organization contributed to the developments in the early Iron Age, which ultimately led to the urbanization around 6th century BC in northern India. Therefore, we can understand the importance of iron and other social organization. So therefore, we can see a gradual development of iron technology from the end of Bronze Age in northwestern part of India and also in northern India. This small beginning was utilized and further developed in the early Iron Age. Probably during the Chalcolithic age, the society was very confined and the kind of social development was limited, so these people could not utilize the iron. We should remember, in the use of any technology, social organization and social development is very important. Just because we have computer, it does not mean the entire society is using computer, the entire society can develop. A society or an individual needs to have the capacity to use a particular technology. Similarly, presence of iron does not indicate any sudden change in the society. The iron implement can be used by a hunter for hunting. The iron implement can be used by a agro-pastoral community for agricultural activities. An iron implement can be used for several purposes. Therefore, the social organization is very important. That is the reason why, though the evidence of iron technology in a small scale is found in the late Bronze Age, iron could not be efficiently used. Definitely, they needed a social change to realize the full potential of iron. That is why the early Iron Age society could use iron extensively. We also notice several stages in the evolution of iron technology. Initially, these people had only an awareness of iron, and later on they realized it is much more economical and much more efficient, and they started using extensively. Scholars like Vibha Tripathi have suggested 3 stages of gradual development of iron technology as well as culture. The stage 1 is largely represented by painted glassware culture. The stage 2 is represented by northern black polished ware culture and megalithic culture in the middle lower Ganga Doab and the peninsular India respectively. Stage 3 witnessed the emergence of urban centers in many parts of northern India like Taxila, Kaushambi and Hastinapura. So clearly we see the evolution of iron technology from a simple beginning to a complex society leading to the rise of urban centers. So with this, I am finishing this presentation. I hope you understood the antiquity of Iron Age and the significance of iron in the social organization. If you have any doubts or if you need some clarification, you can go back to the e-text and also consult the PowerPoint presentation. In addition, there are several publications in the form of books as well as research papers. You can consult them and get a better understanding of the Iron Age. Remember, in the study of iron and iron technology, technology alone is not important. Technology alone is not going to cause social change. It is the social organization, it is the society which is very important in taking up a particular technology and using it. It is the society which is important for using it for its growth and development. Thank you.